I say that and I look up and there's 0 people watching. It's okay. I'm here if anybody wants to see. That's all that matters. Double check my focus. I want to be right there. General area where I'm working is right here, so I'll focus there. Alright. That pretty much covered the whole bottom. It got it all done in one shot. And it's been mated on there pretty well. So I will now, I'd like to put something under his feet where it's not so clacky. I guess it's not that important. I'll grab another piece and put it along the back, and then I'll do the legs and tail and neck. Then what I want to do is I want to build a little hump, hump it up a little bit more right here in the back, and he's going to have some knees, some rather thick knees, and the feet obviously will look pretty cool. Okay, so this is a larger area. I wonder if I should do it in 2 pieces instead of 1. Try to do it in 1 maybe. We'll see, we'll try. Looks like it's like this wide. Looks like that's big enough to do that. Long enough. Still in the shot. I like how that does. If I bring it right to there, I won't really have to trim nothing right here. Start working it on there. I'm going to let this hump right here, and I am putting something underneath this. Maybe a piece of paper towel or something. Here, how about this? It's too noisy. pressing that down there so I can find that other clay. If I do that good enough, I can find where to cut. It looks like I found it. I'll give this a shot. I don't really mind if it overlaps a little bit. And I'm gonna not coil this for the legs. I'm gonna wrap it with sheet clay. That was rather difficult last time. But then again, it was the material. I was using a specific type of material that epoxy sculpt. So had to take that into consideration. I have uh, an appointment to go see an eye doctor. My new doctor, my first ever doctor as an adult. He gave me an eye exam, and I discovered, anyways, that my left eye is kind of blurry. I've always just told myself I got really good vision. I can see great. But I guess it's just kind of getting worse over time. Another thing I notice is if I'm looking at something really close, like my phone, and then I look up and like to watch the TV or something, it's hard to adjust for that distance. That worked out nicely. I just released that weirdness when you're trying to wrap a curved surface. I mean, to a certain degree, you can get it to morph to whatever it is you're doing. but it can only do so much. You got a flat sheet and you're trying to make it do a job that's not flat. But this worked out really good right here. It's actually going really well. Even better than the original video that I'll be taking down. I appreciate you, whoever's here watching, hanging out. If you have any, if you can bring somebody in with you, that would be pretty nice. It would help me out as an artist. I sure do want to make it, you know, doing this. It would be nice, you know. So you can do both of these at the same time. It's probably the better way to do it. Don't press too hard. Just fold them both over and then cut through both of them. Open it back up. It's got such good tack right now. There. And that should close right on up. I do have a little excess on this side too. No big deal, just cut through both. Try to, anyways. I'll remove this. So that was 2 or 3 cuts. Released all that excess tension, or where it's bunched up. It's actually going really, really nice. And I'm okay with it going really, really nice because, to be honest, I would like to start doing some kind of detail on this because of the technical difficulties. Meaning technical, what I mean by that is basically trying to do something that's new without testing it first. Using that electric tape really threw me off. I am just going to kind of cut me a little box to where I can get a sensible shape in there. Really loving this. The TLS, having the TLS in this clay, the added TLS. It feels really nice. It's got some good tack. By that I mean it's sticky. It sticks to itself really well, and it's sticking to this like really, really good. Super happy with this right now. And I'm glad that I'm able to stream right now because we had a storm roll through here and I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it or not. see, how wide is that? Not that wide. Just putting a little piece right here. It's a little wider than that. There, now I got a good even for when I'll put clay on this too. But it's pretty much a stopping point right here until I figure out what's going on with the rest of that. So this looks like it brings up far enough for me, this piece. Go under. Super tricky wrapping something that tapers like a horn or that right there will work. Oh, cool, someone said hello. You like the little legs and feet, huh? Yeah, that's the little armature legs and feet, which is close to the representation of what it's going to look like anyways. It'll just basically have a layer of clay around it. They'll be big. It's gonna have some big old feet. I'm telling you now. Because I'm using the Good Dinosaur as a inspiration or a reference point, and he has big old clunky feet because he's like I think he's like a Brachiosaurus or something, the big brontosaurus. My bad, I'm not a dinosaur buff. I don't know my dinosaurs. But I think it's funny because in my mind I imagine they're born with big old feet and they just grow into them. Kind of like a kid that has like a big nose or big ears. You would tell him, it's all right, you're gonna grow into them. I recently watched that movie and I liked it. I'm a little bit late watching it. It's been out for a while. Look at that big old fingerprint I put on here. Try not to hold it. Like, I don't want to break anything, but I also don't want to. Like, this works really well. I'm not touching it at all. Because it's the warmth from my hands, my fingers, kind of makes it a little melty. So back to the legs and feet and stuff. I'm basically gonna put this thickness of the clay. I'm gonna wrap it once around the legs, so it'll make it a little thicker. They won't be as skinny. And then from there, I'll build out definition. Mainly the knees. The knees will be thicker, pretty much. I have the image. It's up on the wall. If you Google The Good Dinosaur and look at the images online, it's basically the one where he first meets that little wild child, that cave kid thingy. And he kind of leans down and he's saying something to it, most likely hello or hi or what are you? I can't remember. That's that scene. If you do like Google Images, that's the scene, the image I have for reference right now. It's just a single image. I've used single images before and made sculptures pretty darn accurately. Let's see, I did Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. I had a single blurry image I got online where he was holding balloons, and it turned out really, really good. That's back when I first started too. Also, the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland, Absolute, I think his name is. I had an image of him. It basically was a still image of the cartoon. I guess this the scene where he gets mad and he starts puffing on that thing, whatever he's smoking, and he changes color. He's standing up tall, and I made that out of Sculpey Original. Wound up hand painting that, and I sold it to a collector on eBay. But both those sculptures turned out really, really well. It is entirely possible to use like a sculpting compound like this. Make whatever it is you're doing and then just paint it with acrylics and stuff, or whatever your choice material. I like to dabble with this colored clay. It's it's interesting. There's pros and cons to it, I suppose. Let's see. One of the pros is, see, this is going to be a green dinosaur. So if I'm already using green clay, even if I chose to paint it with acrylic paints, we're talking a single coat. Because it already has starting with green, especially if it's really similar. If I paint it a color this that's very similar to this, it wouldn't need anything else. Or you could antique it, like do all your details, like put the lines in it and stuff, and then wash it with or like a really loose, darker paint. What do you call that? Antiquing, I think, is what it's called. And then you just wipe it all away, and it would leave all the darker stuff in those grooves, which I've been meaning to do that for the elephant I made. I thought that would be pretty cool. I never did. I never did anything with that elephant. It's super brittle. the actual thing to the mascot to this channel, I used a mixture of clay that turned out to be very brittle for me. I don't know if it would be brittle for everybody, but it's half and half super sculpey and super sculpey firm. And small pieces, it just shatters. Or thin pieces will just shatter. So we have this neck now covered. Nicely. Fairly nicely. Some of the cons to using colored clay. Can't do a pro and con without listing a con too. There is a common thing that happens with colored clay. It's pretty common in polymer clays. It's called plaquing. You'll get these like half moon shapes where it looks like it's been chipped or something, or like it got hit by a BB. They're usually like the half moon shapes. It's kind of natural. It just kind of happens. But if it's very critical work, like it's finished work, like if you're not going to do any sanding and it's just like this is the finished thing, if you had plaquing on it anywhere, it would be a deterrent. It wouldn't look good. It wouldn't be the results that you're looking for anyways. So that's a con. There could be color shifting depending on the type of brand you're using or the color, how many times you bake it. It can shift in color. That might be a con. But I am going to eventually start doing some sculptures using sculpting compound instead of using colored clay, just for the freedom of not trying to think three-dimensionally as far as color and how it's going to turn out and stuff like that. I'm doing this little area right here. I cut clean lines, nice square 90-degree cuts, so when I put a piece down on here, I can probably find out where to cut. Maybe. And I did. I don't know if you can see that. And I've been using some scissors because why not? I see them pros on Facebook making these anime characters and stuff, like cartoon, just better, like real life. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And they use scissors to cut their sheets of clay. I'm an observer. I learn by watching. I'm absolutely learn by watching for sure. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I'll have to try that. So since then I've been kind of using scissors. See how this comes together? Almost like a Muppet or something, or a puppet. Didn't quite reach that right here. I can use a little snake or something to fill that in. I'll be cutting this kind of clean and round anyways, like this. Let's see what this does. I'll go ahead and work that on there, but you can see that gap for sure. Just take another little piece of clay. Make sure y'all can see. Smash that down in there, and we'll call that good. Good to go. Another little piece. Right here. I'm not too worried about these seams right now. I am, however, worried about air, any kind of bubbles or whatever that's in there. And for the most part, it's working out really, really well. I'm not getting any bubbles at all on this. I mean, I just keep rolling my thumb, and I'm feeling the clay for any kind of movement. That'll let me know if there's something there. And if I find something, I'll just run it out somewhere, chase it on down the road. And I'm thinking I'm having this success to that. I mixed TLS into this green clay. I just kept dumping it on, not dumping it, but putting a little bit on the sheet, folding it, putting it through the pasta machine, which creates a mess in the pasta machine. The one I'm using is a very compact attachment that goes to a KitchenAid thing, so it's fairly easy to kind of clean. I'm really enjoying using an electric pasta machine and not cranking by hand. I've had the same hand crank pasta machine since I started sculpting, which is like 15 years ago. It's a terrible testament to how little I sculpt, because I would leave the channel and disappear and then come back and then disappear again. So I didn't get really much, like a massive amount of time on it. But I still enough for it to be wore out. The gears, the cogwheels were wore down, and it started leaving lines in the clay, which is a sign that it's starting to go bad. And then it just started going so bad to where it wouldn't even turn. I'd have to back it up every 2 turns and then turn it, where it was actually, the gears were actually getting jammed. So that's its final moment. It's like, okay, I'm done. You got to replace me. And I needed something like right away. And I didn't have the money, which is something I never really do. So my wife was like, well, just use mine. She only uses her KitchenAid to make cookies and bread and stuff like that. And I can easily carry it back into the kitchen. It's not like it's too heavy. It's a pretty heavy thing. But she saved the day by letting me use it. And the little attachments, the pasta attachment and the slicer, there's 3 different attachments to it. She says she got them really, really cheap on Amazon, which I'm wondering how she managed to do that. Or she's just trying to be nice and say, don't worry, you can have it. Because when you use equipment, like a pasta machine on wood polymer clay, you want that to be dedicated. Look how nicely that went on just then. All those seams come right together. I still haven't ordered clay. I was going to order me some black, maybe some white, and some glow in the dark. Black and white is a real common color I use. Especially white, because you can use that to make Skinner blends like roses. You would use red and white, and it basically fades red into pink. Pretty much. White will make any color look like a pastel, if that's what you're shooting for. Also, it could be used for teeth. Quite a bit of uses. And I'm pretty low. And I'll be super curious to see the consistency of the new current packs of the cause clay. Because what you're looking at right now is Kickstarter clay. I helped back them during the Kickstarter thing about 90 years ago. And I even helped beta test this clay. I got in there towards the very end of the beta testing, and I was able to, I did manage to make a couple things and do a few tests, but then life happened, or rather the opposite. I lost someone in my life that wasn't very important to me, and it was really rough at the time. So I wound up just stopping, I guess, for a little while. That's been quite a while ago, and I'm oh so back. The channel hasn't really found out yet or realized. Oh, I'm sorry, people have been commenting. Hey Kayleen, hello, how you doing? I missed the start. What is the green clay? Is it polymer? Yes. Wow, it's been a long time since I saw this lovely channel. I'm so delighted you're still making polymer clay art. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, this is polymer clay, obviously. I've been using other clays too. The epoxy sculpt. The body, this is epoxy sculpt. It's a self-hardening 2-part compound that gets really, really hard. It doesn't flex, but it's really, really freaking hard. It's almost like metal. But this is it's polymer clay, but it's a specific kind. It's from cause clay. They boast flexible, like you can bend it. It's bendable. It's rubber. It's basically, instead of plastic particle in oil, it's a rubber particle in oil. It's the same concept as polymer clay, but instead of it being plastic, it's rubber. So thin pieces bend really, really well. Thicker pieces would be more like if you made a big bar or a brick, it wouldn't bend at all. But you could push on it, you could feel the rubberness, and it would bounce. It would bounce. If you make a sculpture with cause clay and threw it off a roof, it would just bounce. And I got so tired of how fragile some of my pieces were. I've lost a few pieces due to it. I had a lizard called Sushi. Absolutely gorgeous lizard. And I had it up on the wall for quite a while, and it was getting dirty. I needed to clean it, so I took it down, I set it on the end table, and almost immediately my cat jumped it. He jumped on the end table onto the lizard and slid off the end table with the lizard, and it only fell like 2 feet. I mean, we're talking about to a coffee table set, the little end tables. It only fell a couple feet, and it shattered into several pieces. It was so done. I wasn't really too mad at a lizard. I wasn't really too mad at my cat. Part of me was kind of honored that he would want to attack a fake lizard Even though it's big and gaudy and meant for wall art, it doesn't look realistic at all. And another part of me was like mad because he destroyed such a beautiful piece of work. I will one day remake sushi if I can afford the clay and stuff. I'm still rocking this beta clay and I'm having to recondition it and add stuff to it and stuff to get it workable. It's gonna be definitely in the future. I'm gonna remake that. But had I made that with cause clay instead of polymer clay and primo and stuff like that, it wouldn't have did anything. It would have bounced. It really wouldn't have done anything. And I've had other incidents too. I tried to mail something to someone, and okay, in defense, I did mail it. I packaged it the dumbest way possible. Like, it was so dumb how I packaged it. I made it basically stationary, like rigid with the box itself. I put like 3 layers of foam, like this thick, at the bottom of the box, and I cut a hole to where that piranha plant I made, which is gorgeous. I made this piranha plant from Nintendo, and I stuck it down in there to where I'm like, oh, this ain't going nowhere. You know, I put bubbles around it and all. But it became fixed with the box. Now imagine that as soon as the box is slammed somewhere, or, oh my gosh. It was so dumb how I packaged that. But once again, if I had made that with cause clay, it wouldn't have mattered. Even packing it dumb, it wouldn't have broke. It's not invincible, this clay. It's just highly durable, a lot more forgiving. And that can mean all the difference when it comes to confidence in what you're doing. And that's something I was losing. I'm looking up on my art on the wall, and some of it's cracking. And, you know, I'm still trying to figure out, I'm still learning the clay, honestly. I may come off like a pro, like I know what I'm doing, and I don't. I'm just kind of learning. I'm constantly learning. Every little thing I'm doing, I'm learning. And sometimes I make the wrong call or do the wrong thing. So, like using electric tape to wrap your armature. It sounds like it would be nice. Absolutely do not use electric tape to wrap your foil. Use masking tape. Masking tape doesn't stretch at all. Electric tape is made of rubber. It stretches really well. So when you're wrapping it and you're putting all that tension on it, you put it in the oven, the heat will release that tension and it'll expand. It'll just destroy your work. Which is why I'm fixing to be I'm going to take a couple videos down. The Dinosaur Part 1 and Part 2. I'm going to take those videos down. Part 2 is getting deleted entirely because this is Part 2. I'm redoing Part 2 right now. But Part 1, I'm just going to turn it into a time-lapse video. And right before I start wrapping it with electric tape, I'll fade it to black and just use an annotation saying, and then I wrapped it with electric tape, or masking tape. Solving my dilemma. See, I don't want to make any videos that would lead anybody wrong to where it would damage their work and stuff. And as soon as I saw that, what happened, I was like, oh no, this is terrible. You know, I can't leave these people hanging. I gotta let them know. I tell people when I've screwed up on something. You know, that's part of the thing. It's a documentary. I don't consider myself a teacher. Just because of the fact that I mess up. You know what I mean? I don't want to try to make it seem like I'm a pro or professional, if that makes sense. I try to be honest about what's going on and everything. So, and then I think later on that night, someone commented on it like, wow, electric tape's a great idea. And I'm like, no, it's not actually. Please do not use electric tape. So that told me right there, I've got to fix that. I got to take those. Ooh, this is super thick. I got to take those videos down. Now, the little emergency video I filmed saying don't use electric tape, I'll leave that up because it's a good tip. Maybe someone would be curious and want to try it one day, and that a video will save them the trouble. It's just, even the temperature change in the room itself can cause that electric tape to expand or contract. And my raw clay literally cracked all over the place. So absolutely, you cannot use electric tape. And that's one of the things I was just talking about. I may not, I don't know, you know. I don't know everything. But seeing that happen, though, was very enlightening. Like, I got smarter. It made me smarter, if that's, I don't know if that sounds weird saying that way. Failures or failing in something can provide so much information. I think that's why Elon Musk keep, sending rockets up in the air and blowing them up. It's not because he's got all the money in the world. It's because he's getting very valuable data. Which helps build better rockets. Maybe even some that are safe enough to have people in them. You know, because it's one thing if you... This is so annoying. Trying to wrap a piece of a material, a surface like this that bevels is very difficult. So I will just, yeah, wow, I'm in the shot. This new camera angle is really, really working for me. Let's see what this does. Or it doesn't. Let's see what it doesn't. Work that air out. You could opt to use little snakes, coils, or whatever, and I did that. You had it in the bed? Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, is it that time? Yeah. All for you, anyways. Well, baby, thanks for helping me get this string going.
Oh, you're welcome. Will's just giving me a hug for you.
I have to do a video, guys, every day about my dog. Every day my wife comes home from work, our dog jumps up and hugs her. Now, I don't mean that lightly. I mean the literal human hug. He squeezes with his arms around you like a person. And then he turns around and hugs me. I'm like, what? I've been here all day. Why are you hugging me? But I have to capture that on film. It's so sweet. We really did get lucky with this dog.
He's a sweet boy. All right, come on, Bobo. It's time to go to bed. Come on. Come on. Good night, babe.
Good night, honey. I'll see you on the flip side.
See you in the morning.
Yeah. It's kind of what I meant, too. Any new comments? Nope. Okay. I gotta remember to keep checking them comments. Here lately, people ain't really... I had one stream and almost the entire stream, no one said anything. It was so sad. So thanks for saying something, for saying hello. It means everything. Any type of help I can get would be so... I don't think people know how bad off I am right now. Let's just leave it at that. So like if you can phone a friend and be like, hey, I know this dude. He's sculpting live right now. Check him out, man. That would be so awesome. I'd appreciate it. You know, you don't have to, though, obviously. No pressure. it looks like I got this figured out. But back to what I was talking about, the cosplay in general. This is a confidence building experience using this clay. To the point, so much to the point where I feel like I could take on commissions. Like someone say, "Hey, could you make such and such?" And if I looked at it and thought that I could make it and wanted to make it, I could do that. And then if the person likes it, obviously make some money. You know, I've never felt confident before because of the instability of the regular polymer clay. Some polymer clays are better than others, right? Like I would say the most generic Sculpey Original. It's white. Well, it could be also terracotta. It's also the cheapest polymer clay you can buy. It is no. I don't know. There's a reason why it's the cheapest, I guess. It's not. It's not very. My bad. I'm trying to do this and talk, which is difficult. Quite a bit of excess clay there. See how I just unfolded that and it's still some under there? So I'm just gonna cut it like this. I used the Sculpey Original, the white, to make a King Cobra. I still have it in there in the living room. And it's got hairline cracks in it. Which, I mean, didn't compromise the integrity of the item, but it's still cracked, you know. And could it be that I didn't bake it correctly? Because we're talking a long time ago, like back when I first started sculpting. And not not only that, like I don't even know what I'm doing now today. All these years, I'm still new. I'm still learning, anyways. I do pull off some really nice looking work sometimes. Like a lot of times. Sometimes it don't work good for me. That spider I just made, unbelievable how nice that turned out. I'm still kind of like wish I had kept it. Um, I wound up accidentally selling it for $20 on Etsy. I thought I was selling it for $40, but I wasn't. But it's okay. It went to a channel member, and they're like family to me. By the way, I still have 6 members. When I first launched membership, I got 6 members right away. And it's been like almost 2 months, and not a single soul has decided to join this channel and become part of the elephant family. We're talking $3.99, which would help me as an artist support myself. And the idea is to try to grow that, and I would love to do like a metal sculpture or a big paper mache sculpture for the yard, or so many different ideas. My hands are tied. I can't do any. I have zero money, so I'm supposed to mention it in every stream or get on normal videos. That's probably what my problem is I'm talking about it during streams, and people don't really. Some watch the streams through. Uh, I just It's a little weird. I have a lot of subscribers, and I think it's just a fake number. It's always been that way. Like, there's no way I have 80,000 subscribers. I don't think I have 100 subscribers. But I still have the criteria that makes partnership. I'm able to pull all that off. So, the 6 people that did join, they're making it to where instead of waiting 5 months to get $100 paycheck, now I wait 3.5, 4 months. It's a little bit better. And as I get more and more, um, I'll eventually get a check every month. And then if it keeps going really good, I'll make more than my wife does. Not that it's a competition. I just want to help that woman so bad. And I just keep failing at everything. But anyways, I don't want to get on to some weird, uh, you know, bring the house down type vibe. This is happy time right now. This is sculpting. This is therapeutic. It's wonderful. And I will figure out how to support myself along the way. I'll make a little thing, sell it. Maybe somebody will want to buy this when I'm done. It'll look pretty cool. I just know it. Because I'm stupid lucky. I get really lucky. I just say I get lucky. I don't want to say it's I'm skillful or whatever. I got that covered. This tail. What a difficult little area because it tapers. And I don't have 100 little seams on here either. So awesome for that. I do have a little seam right here. One of these days, when I start getting picked up on these streams, when I got like well, what I need is a schedule. I need to be more consistent. Like if everybody knows that it's going to be Thursdays or Friday nights or whatever it is, they can expect that and then they can show up. Um, that would help huge. But I don't even know what it's like when someone joins during a stream. There's probably like some kind of confetti or animation or something like that. But there is no perk. That could be it too. Basically, the perk is you get a badge next to your name and the knowledge knowing that you're helping someone struggling in life. Helping an artist on his journey, which, I don't know, that could be rewarding or good for some people, but other people are like, no, you're going to have to give me more than that. Which, that's cool. I'll figure it out. I'm going to start doing these legs now. And I'm going to do it in 2 pieces. Like a top right here. Like, they don't even have to touch because I'm going to put big old kneecaps on this thing. So I'll just cut me a piece about yay big. Something like this. And it just got to be big enough to wrap around that. So let's try that. It kind of looks like I'm running out of clay, but I can run that through the pasta machine again and we'll see. I'm going to have to obviously add a little bit of clay right there where the body is. me pinch this down. Basically work it on there as I wrap it and work it to where there's no air and it's kind of made it on there. Then I'll come back and do some slicing and stuff. Like right here. Cutting this and putting it almost like I'm a doctor. I'm doing surgery. I'm putting skin on this little animal. Speaking of doctor, this Monday, in 2 days, I go to get imaging done on my leg. I had something seriously scary happen to me not too long ago. I actually thought I was going to die. Like, I had my wife rush me to the hospital, and I was giving her my final words, telling her things like she did good, that I love her, and to not ever feel bad. She offered me a good life. She did what she could, you know, even though I didn't help with anything. You know, I was giving her my final words. I know that probably sounds dramatic, but I felt like I was at the end of my story. Like, so literal, in every literal sense you can mean that. I had this weird bulge in the back of my leg. It pulsed a couple times, and then instantly I felt a surge through my blood, all through my body, even the top of my head, my feet. My blood was moving so fast, it sounded like wind in my ears. And it felt like my life force was pouring out of me. Like my life was draining out of me. Like maybe I was bleeding inside my body somehow. It was the strangest feeling. And niacin. It felt like a niacin flush times 10,000, to the point where, like, cruelty, pretty much. And so I took my belt off and ratcheted. It's a ratcheting belt. And I put it around my leg, and I was standing in a coffee pot. I was fixing to make a cup of coffee. My wife just got home. She just walked in the door. I was telling her about Willis, something funny he done in the yard or whatever. And then I looked at her and I was like, uh-oh. Oh no, baby, I'm in trouble. I remember telling her, I'm in trouble. And we get to the hospital, and on the way there, it was a 15-minute drive. At first we called 911, and then I told them, no, I want you to take me. I just wanted her to take me instead of them to come. So we canceled that, and I got in the car, and we went. By the time we got nearly there, I was cold, sweat, like I had cold sweats all over me, and I was faint, like passing out, fainting, like really weak. And we get to the hospital, and I'm spazzed like crazy. I lost my mind. I'm freaking out, okay, because I just had the most scariest thing happen to my entire life happen to me. And basically, it's one very common thing that happens in my town, my hometown, probably everywhere in the world, to be honest, is a lot of people go to the hospitals. They try to get drugs. They try to get pain pills, because opiate problem, it's a big problem in this country. It really is. And I guess they just thought I was there for drugs. So they told me I had a muscle spasm, and said that we'll give you some muscle relaxers. And they sent me home. I could not believe it. You know, I never did fill the prescription. I wasn't there for drugs. I was there because I thought I was going to die. And in my mind, being at a hospital is the safest place I could be, right? Well, I don't really feel safe there anymore. Maybe now I do. So since then, I got insurance from I've never had insurance. I've never seen a doctor as an adult, which these are probably wild things to be hearing, irresponsible things. It's okay if you say it. I agree. I just never bothered. You know, I never saw a doctor as an adult. And so we got the affordable health care thing for me because I make 50 cents to 80 cents a day for a living. You know, I have no money. And it's actually really, really good insurance. It's expensive insurance, I later learned. Um, but I had to wait until the first of the next month for it to even kick in. And then it took 2 weeks just to schedule an appointment. But I noticed I was getting better and getting better. Oops, I cut that crooked. Look at that crooked cut. I'm talking. I can't cut and talk at the same time. It was just quite a bit of wait. A lot of waiting. And so finally, the day after tomorrow, Monday, I go in and go for imaging. It's an inch and a half. They're going to do something. They're going to either do an MRI or an ultrasound on the back of my leg. And what I'm suspecting happened was I had an unperforated aneurysm in my femoral artery where it kind of ballooned out. And I'm guessing that causes turbulence in my blood, which would cause that weird sensation. Honestly, I don't know how I could feel so wild like that. The sensation was just outrageous for me. Absolutely the scariest day in my entire life. And I've had some scary days. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm so ready to find out what's going on. And for it, you know, that draining feeling that I said I was going to do this. This is that spot on here. See that? Dirty. I'll just put this towards the armature. No harm. Um, Anyhow, I forgot really where I was going with that. Oh, yeah, unperforated aneurysm. It's just so weird though. I don't know. It's a very. I hope I get some answers, to be honest, because I want to actually know like what exactly happened. I just want to understand it to where I can be preventative. Not, I don't want to ever have. I don't want that to ever happen to me again. Also, so the whole time that draining sensation. Oh, that's what I was saying, where it felt like my life was pouring out of me somehow. That sensation lasted all the way to the hospital, and probably 30 minutes. And they actually got me back in the back rather quickly. I came in there with a tourniquet around my leg, telling them I'm fixing to die. And I guess that kind of fast tracks things. It's just so scary. It happened for like 30 minutes, and finally I noticed that the flushing was getting, like, the pattern of it was getting further apart, and which they noticed that too, and they're like, they basically, honestly, once I told them I didn't have insurance, I feel like they were like, all right, let's get this guy out of here. They were like, bum, get out of here, bum. And plus I was improving, so they're not there to, they're there for if I'm gonna die, an emergency. That's what the whole concept of that is. And But now I have a personal doctor, which is like the first time, and he's really nice. He's a nice guy. Uh, he's actually setting me up with an eye doctor because I think my left eye is getting a little weird. So you might see me in glasses. I don't know. Be a little weird. See how notice how I did this in two pieces? Because it's an angle on this leg. It's I can just fill it back in with this. Also, there's going to be a big old kneecap. He's got big knees. They're rough. Now, if I was doing an actual dinosaur, trying to stay true to some a specific kind of dinosaur, a lot of this would be done different, obviously. But I'm kind of doing a cartoon dinosaur. But I just basically put a snake in that just now, and all of this looks nice. There's no bubbles, air pockets. For the next several days after that event happened to me with my leg, I would have like random flushing. I actually thought I was getting better and I went out and weed eated our yard. I weed eat our property because I don't have a mower. We have an acre and a quarter, and it sounds outrageous, but I'm really, really good at it. Like, good enough to show you on video. I think my weed eat job does better than a zero turn. People are probably like, whatever, that's ridiculous. A zero turn, Tom? Well, I can get like low to the ground and actually the weed eater is a real rough way to cut your grass. It doesn't slice it. Snipping grass with like scissors or whatever is any kind of like gardening or like if you're doing your bushes or something, you want to do clippers that cut clean angles. It's the best treatment you can give for your whatever it is. So to use a weed eater is really, really rough. And I think what's been happening is I've been training the grass to not grow as fast because I noticed it. I'm not doing this as often as everybody else is mowing in this, and I'm talking during the summer. And I think what it is it's I'm training the grass to be low and to not grow as fast, but it's still filling out, and it looks nice. It looks like a golf course or whatever. It's really nice quality once I'm done with it. But I was out weed eating one day, and the next day, that night, I woke up in the middle of the night just like, my leg was spasming, and that rush was coming back through my blood. And I was like, oh my God, I did it again, you know. And so now I'm being like real careful. It'll feel like I'm getting better, like I can go do things, but I have to be careful. I haven't ran or jogged a step since it happened. I just kind of walk around. I don't run around with the dog anymore, which is something I miss terribly. I love playing with that dog. I get out there and I'll throw some things for him, but I can't. I would chase them around all over the yard. I've actually been hard on myself. I totally reevaluated my life, and and feeling like you're gonna die or whatever can make you see the world different and your whole life differently as well. Like for example, what I was just saying, weed eating the yard. I claim that I'm doing it really well. That heck, it even looks better than a professional service, like a zero turn. It looks better. And oh, and it's an electric weed eater, so I'm not using gasoline and putting chemicals in the air and stuff. So you may even be able to argue that I'm helping the environment. But time's a funny thing and it's very precious. Do I need to be out there weed eating? You know, you never know when your last day is. I see the world differently now. And I'll probably to make a little video showing how just a small area, like maybe where our septic is. I got a Cobalt 40-volt weed eater and it's a beast. You wouldn't believe that it's actually, I'm not trying to sell this weed eater, and obviously I'm misusing it. It's not meant to mow your yard. But what I do is I kill a battery and then charge it because it takes 4 or 5 hours for it to charge. So I can only do it once a day. And the next day I'll just kill the battery, meaning I use it until I get a dead battery. And then, 2 or 3 days of that, the yard's pretty much done. And we're only talking like 15, 20 minutes of just continuous, depending on how tall the grass is, continuous run. Then it'll die on me. But if I ever get my stuff together, maybe I'll have a mower and not have to do that with the weed eater anymore. But if I can get my leg fixed to where it doesn't hurt, like I'm not in danger of anything, immediate danger, I don't mind. I really don't mind weed eating. That's probably weird. It's probably weird. I got a little buggy that you use to haul dirt and leaves and stuff. I bought it at, I think, Tractor Supply. It's plastic and it's got the tub part is plastic, but it's a metal frame and it's got real wheels and tires. And I don't. Would you believe this? I've had it since we moved in this house, which is like what, it's about 6 years or so, 7 years maybe. And it still holds water. I haven't punctured it yet, and it claimed it can hold 800 pounds, which no way this thing could hold 800 pounds. But I put logs in there and fill it slap up with dirt, and eventually the tires bust. The tubes to the tires, there's tubes in there. They would pop, and I replaced all 4 of these, and then those would get old and those would pop. But then something weird happened. The tire itself started rotting, and I'm thinking in my mind, I have a weird way of processing thought. I'm like, well, if the tire is already rotting, the steel wheel is forever. I'm not going to damage that on anything. I'm dragging it through dirt and grass, not down the road. So the steel wheel is fine. So if the tire's already rotting, I'm not at risk of damaging anything. So you know what happened? I stopped buying anything, and I was pulling this buggy with 4 flats and rotting tires, fully loaded with dirt. That's probably why my leg is all busted. Just doing stupid things like that. But gosh, I must have saved all kinds of money. Is it easier to roll with air in those things? Yes. It's like it's a weird thing. Sometimes when you don't have much, you have to try different things or just adjust in different manners, right? Like if you were stable and you made plenty of money, you probably would never see what it's like to push a buggy with popped tires. You would just go buy new ones. In fact, at Lowe's you can get plastic hard tires, but they're outrageous. I'd love to have a set, but they're like $60 each, or just crazy amount of money to me. So I never, obviously I'm not going to do that. But being kind of tight, living tight like that, you can actually discover little things. You see the world a little differently. I discovered that you don't have to really change the buggy tires or wheels, because it still rolls, and it gives you a good build. You know, you start getting muscles and you lose weight. You know, I don't have a tractor. I've been converting our woods into beautiful property. So I've been hand turning each square foot of the ground with a transfer shovel, the full depth of the shovel. I turned the soil and I dug up probably 30 trees, 4 or 5 of those being pine trees, by the way, which you can't dig up. I don't know if you know this, but the taproot is about the same size as the tree, and it goes way down like a carrot. So I dig down 2 or 3 feet and cut it with a chainsaw 2 or 3 feet underground, and you would never hear about that tree again. Plenty of soil to have a garden or build a home on top of, and just put a lot of work into it, and everything was by hand, no equipment. I had no choice. Some of those things I did were probably the reason why my leg is the way it is. I feel like I'm taking forever. I'm on my second leg. I'm probably talking too much. I get nervous when I stream. I still get nervous when I'm streaming. And that's part of what happens. I talk. I start telling you my life story and all my problems. I'm so sorry. So there's 2 legs. And you look at that. I mean, it's basically following the same. It's the same as the armature was. It's just the thickness has changed. It's the same thickness everywhere. So I increased the diameter of everything. The surface area has increased, but the same everywhere. Nothing different. I haven't added any guidelines and built out clay anywhere, which that'll come next. But having said that, it looks nice. Like you could see this even better. Well, let me go like that. And this is pretty good. Oh my gosh, it's getting so hot in here. trying to figure out, there's some way I can cut that. I don't know how you would cut this where it would follow that weird. It's really hard to figure out how to trim up this part right here to where this goes up to it cleanly and evenly. I'm sure it's possible. I'll just add a piece of clay there. It's not that big of a deal. But for efficiency reasons and just learning in general, I'd like to know. But I also don't want to sit here and stare at it all night, just contemplating. That wouldn't make a very interesting stream. It would be almost as bad as me sharing all my problems and stuff. There. Now, I'm doing it in two parts anyways, here and then here. I connected the knee with a snake, and I could do that right here too. So right here, I just make sure it's mated to there really good. There's no air pockets. No air pockets. We don't like air pockets around here. I've been taking aspirin. It's something my wife actually suggested, like immediately, and I was drinking massive amount of water, which was something I don't really do very well. You're supposed to drink plenty of water, y'all. I remember I would drink maybe one bottle of water and a couple cups of coffee for the entire day, and that's after sweating and digging and stuff in the yard. It's such a bad way to treat yourself. But goodness, I forgot what I was talking about just now. It's okay. I need to stop talking about that anyways. If anybody is watching this, says a couple people, once this elephant, or the elephant, that's a funny looking elephant, once this dinosaur is done, I'll be obviously making something new after that. Do any of y'all, what would be cool to make? Not just cool, what would help me get noticed, help people return to the channel and maybe watch some of these streams with me, hang out with me like y'all? You know what, I was gonna cut that off, but why not just work this on and just do a little piece right here. I have like a lot of ideas. Of course, just freestyling it, like not committing to anything, and just get on here and be like, all right, we're doing a clay sketch. That would be nice in itself too. I feel sometimes that I'll make an announcement like I'm gonna make such and such, or this or that, and I basically walk myself into a corner. And if I feel like I can't do it or whatever, like if I'm struggling to fill it or whatnot, I can get stuck, like permanently, and it's hard to shake myself from that. Which I'm still working on, you know. I this, for example, this thing right here, it's a dinosaur. I said I'm making a dinosaur. That means I'm publicly announcing that I'm starting a project, and if halfway through it I feel like I'm not feeling this anymore, or if it's not going right, if I'm messing up, it's breaking everywhere, or I'm failing, I'll just be stuck. Like it's taken me a while to realize that I can, so what, move on, stop doing it, just kill the whole project, don't delete it, just, you know, end it like a series that wasn't getting good ratings or something, and start something new. That's something I recently have been working on and discovering about myself. Um, it's part of autism. I'll I'm very linear, and if moving from point A to point B to point C, if I have any problems, like if I get stuck on C, I'll never reach D. Uh, like I can't see past it or something. It's really weird. It's something I've been working on, and I'm making good grounds with it. Good strides. Like that lizard I'm making, I'm kind of not feeling that. But it's coming along. I just sanded that today, by the way. That's so meticulous. Doing that sanding is so tedious. I'm gonna do like a plaque and set it on a plaque to give it more stability. Those toes sticking out everywhere, I know this is very durable clay, but that's just asking for trouble. Um, it's real durable, but you don't have to go around. You don't have to go testing it or pushing your luck. So I'll just adhere it to like this background that kind of morphs with the shape of the lizard, uh, and then guess I'm gonna paint it. I'm gonna try to paint something similar to Starry Night on it, which sounds so intimidating to me. I'm a little intimidated by that. It might wind up just being a purple lizard on a somewhat beigey background. I'm going to be mixing that sculpting compound, this beige right here, with white, because I don't have much white. They make like a warm, it's a kind of a pleasant color, and it just expands your, see, this right here is semi-translucent. It's not completely translucent, it's semi-translucent, so that allows it to absorb color quite well. It winds up being like a pastel, like a washed out color. But I'll do that for the background and then bake it one final time. That's going to be a normal video, not a stream. I'll probably be making that video tomorrow and uploading it tomorrow. And then it'll be painting if I really feel brave like that. If I feel like I can do that. I want to paint it with the Starry Night theme, the famous painting. I want to try to paint something similar to that on its body. So, I honestly, I'm a little freaked out about it. And worst case scenario, it's just a purple lizard on a white-ish background, and that's that. Somebody wants it, they can have it. If not, it was just some kind of form of entertainment. Moving on, right? That's what you gotta do. Moving on. Gotta keep on driving. Keep on moving forward. Explore this art. This is looking really good. In the previous attempt on doing this, I chose to do a sculpting compound on here, not this green. It was like this stuff right here. And what I was thinking is this would save me clay. I don't have much of this green, you know, and it's still old beta color. The Kickstarter, not beta, but the Kickstarter clay. So to save a little of the green, I could put a layer of that on first. And I didn't bake it, I just covered it, and that electric tape screwed it all up on me. And basically I'm having to restart it. I chose to make, instead of using that sculpting compound, I used epoxy sculpt. That's what this stuff is right here. It's rock hard, to thicken out the legs a little bit, and that made it to where I have plenty of clay to put a decent skin on this. That's what you could call this. It's like a skin, a layer of skin. And also enough clay to build out profiles here and there wherever I see fit. I lost its vent hole. I put a vent hole in there just because I'm a comedian. In case it gets gases when I'm baking it. See that epoxy sculpt, it ain't gonna flex and warp with the heat pressures and stuff. It's permanent. It's pretty stiff. Pretty strong stuff. Just one more piece and I can start profiling, like building out. And I will probably change the camera angle a little bit. Bring it down a little. I'm kind of looking down. You're right here on my shoulder. Kind of. Well, I'll leave it for this part. I'm going to hump it up a little bit in the back. Just add extra shapes to it and break it away from that real basic armature that I had built. Adding little different definition and details to make it seem more believable. See, I build working with shapes. It's how I work. And then I try to figure out ways to make it look like I don't work with shapes. Use the shapes to achieve the item, and then come up with techniques to break it away from the look of using shapes. Unless you're trying to do a Minecraft type thing, then it needs to look like block. Everything's blocks. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense or not. So, like for example, this is just a single thickness, this leg, all the way up and all the way down. It looks like a snake that just was bent right here. So to break away from that, I'll put thick kneecaps on here. Maybe a little wrinkles in the front and stuff. It'll be really fun to do. It's actually sculpting instead of just wrapping clay, which is all I've been doing lately. And I want to do something else. I want to sculpt. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if you're still here, DKC 1011, but I appreciate you saying that. It's almost surreal hearing things like that. It's kind of awkward to receive compliments or praise in any way, but I appreciate it. And I should have never left any of those times. What was that? I struggle with um, depression and autism and stuff, so the majority of those times I would disappear is I'm just at the bottom. I'm in a bad spot or whatever. And I was faced with, I got an email from Google saying, hey, we realize you may be needing to take a break, but your watch time is low. And if you can't get it back up in the next 30 days, we're going to have to take you off of partnership, basically suspend partnership. And that to me was scarier than facing my channel again. I had something even I was even more scared of. I'm like, wow, I don't want to lose this at all. I've had 15 years of my life in this. I may not be making any money from it, but it's still the bones to something really, really good. So it pushed me to come back. And then that helped break the ice. I'm like, hi guys, hello again. And I just was doing stream after stream after stream. And we did it. We basically got the watch time. It's been a struggle to maintain that watch time, because at the other end of the year I'm replacing large hour days. But you have to have 4,000 hours for the year of watch time. I used to have like 10,000 hours, like way more than normal, but obviously abandoning the channel doesn't help that. And some of these streams I'm doing is literally just to keep me on top, to keep me ahead with watch time. In fact, I got 3,997. It actually fell under the 4,000, but it won't be after tonight. I've had 2 or 3 people watching. We've been on for a couple hours now. I'm making good time with this, relatively speaking. Hold on a second. I got a few pieces of wax paper here. So we're gonna put some clay around these feet. He's getting clay on his feet today. I don't know if this helps you see it better or not, but I could do the feet very last, but I don't see what it would hurt, getting them going. So I'm just gonna do like 4 squares, just quick pieces of clay that are at least as big as the area that they need to be for the feet. Set them on this wax paper so he can skate around and slide and stuff. And I will just center it up pretty much on all 4. That's a big foot right there. I could have sanded some of these down, but I didn't. There. All 4 of those are bigger than the actual dinosaur. And it'll slide around now. Because it wouldn't do this if this clay doesn't. I really do want to get something going with these feet, like right now. So I'm going to do that now. Last time with the lizard, I like to do this. I'll put a piece of clay underneath, like one big sheet, and it'll make it clean under there, and there won't be seams or joins in the clay. And I noticed when I cut to the body, like really close like this, and I wrapped it, it was difficult where it didn't want to mate to there. So I'm going to actually come out slightly further than the foot. I don't know if you can see that on camera, what's going on right there. But I'm going to follow the shape of the foot, but it's slightly further out here. Do you see how you can see some of that? That way when I put the other sheet down on top of it, it's just something for this top part to mate to on down here instead of this flat. Because if I cut it to there, like clean to there, it's a very tiny area that you're trying to mate this piece of clay with this piece of clay. Whereas this way, there's more here to do that. That's got to make sense. In my mind, it makes sense. I will continue trimming this. And that, what I just explained to you, I'm totally just made this up. I'm making it up. Usually it doesn't cause a problem. It's never really an issue. This is a bad angle for y'all. I gotta cut it where I can see it. But I'm just following the same concept, leaving almost like a quarter width, a thickness. Not a quarter inch or whatever, like the money, or a nickel or a dime, where it just kind of protrudes out a little bit. See, check that out. I'll go ahead and do that with all of these. That would be my cat scratching at the door, wanting in. I somehow misled our cat, Tigger, my baby. He's my baby. I love my cat. But somehow I misled him to I misled him to believe that he has superpowers. That all he has to do is scratch 3 times on a door, like scratch, 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 and it opens. Like that's his. It's an ability he has, because basically every time I hear it, I look at him. I'm like, "Oh, you want in, or you want out?" I'll open the door. Whatever he's trying to do, I'll do it for him. So it's funny because sometimes, like, if I can't do it or don't want him in a room, I can see him. He'll scratch at it, and he'll like look around like, "What's wrong? This ain't working." It's kind of funny. But he might keep doing that unless I go let him in. Dang it. I had that down on there pretty good. And I was too forceful and separated again. So this is the bottom. This clay that I'm using, it'll make it to where the bottom has clay. It's green down there too, which is pretty cool. It's a decent thickness. There's not going to be any detail down there. It's supposed to sit. If anything, a little pieces of felt or something soft would go good. That way it doesn't damage a shelf or wherever it's going to sit. Or leave it just like this, the green clay. But I basically won't put anything else there. Underneath anyways. I'm just trying to make sure that I have that excess hanging over where the bottom is a little wider than the foot itself, the armature to the foot. Because I could wind up building this foot out wider and bigger than what it's already got going on here. Because he's cartoonish. And cartoon characters tend to be, ridiculous in proportion and stuff. I'm so glad I'm getting clay on this guy. There we go. Wow, he didn't do his little scratchy thing again. Okay, so let's try to wrap this foot right here. This shouldn't be that complicated. I'm going to start by maybe doing a little something like this. That's where that foot or the leg is. Let's see what this does. Or why not do more of the actual circle? Maybe a little bit more, deeper. See, now I feel like I'm sculpting now. Some of these things I'm doing doesn't feel much like Now I'm just gonna push that clay kind of to I don't know if you can see that what I'm doing. Sorry if you can't. Now I know I got the clay is joined because I left a little excess. It's plenty to smash up against the other. Basically push it in to the bottom like this. In. And it's giving me like a new line. Wow. Which I'll cut along this new line. Even here, I'll slightly larger, where I'm not trying to be perfect. Slightly, because I can compress that clay back in there, giving me even more reinforcement. I'm starting to get excited now. These feet are getting me excited. some parts of sculpting can be boring. Building an armature can be kind of boring. I like the clay part. I like working the clay. I like building out details and profiles and like the little I take little tiny snakes and make different guides and stuff to change the the look of something. Like if I want to make something wider, I'll put a guideline and then I'll build out the clay on both sides of it. So here's what it looks like in the back. That's a good representation. I want to take a minute and focus this. There. Oops. I did the wrong foot. It's that foot right here. So let me do that again. There, it should be in focus. You can see how that look. You get the bottom piece right here. It sticks out a little further. There's the armature, and this sticks over like a shell. I'm gonna have plenty of clay down here where it joins, because that's excess that's sticking out. I'll smash it down in there. Now I got to put it back. Should be in focus again. So it's just a little piece back here. Running out of pieces. I'll have to run it through the pasta machine really quick here soon. Sorry that I got a squeaky chair. I don't know if you can hear that or not. It's a squeaky. There we go. And wherever it needs to stop right here, I'll slice it again. Like right here-ish. And then the same concept, I'll take this tool and push in towards the bottom to close up that gap down there. I feel like I'm building little sneakers or something. The foil is kind of getting in my way. I can remove it. Oops. That's definitely not an angle. I can remove the the wax paper at any time. Perhaps when I get this a little closer to where all these pieces are together and whatever. So push, push, push. And that's going to be such a good build. It'll have the strength and stability that I'm wanting. It'll just be kosher. You know, it'll be good. There we go. I won't get too picky with this because we're going to have even more clay there, and I'll be putting the impression of toes on the front. So, but there's a gap right here where the sheet kind of met it but didn't let me push this down. That way we have that surface, like a flatter surface. And this, I'm just going to put a tiny snake like this. That'll close up that hole that was there just now. And I can just, yeah, that's good. I can just tool this on, smash the center of that snake pretty much down to the the corner. And then drag this way. In theory. And then I think a different tool. This might be better. Once again, this is going to get some more clay. I'm almost certain it's going to get more clay on top. But I do want to follow through with every little step. Like get this snake worked on at the top and bottom where it's been smashed. Back here, it's fine. Everything meets everything pretty nicely. There's no holes anywhere. Right here, a little low right here. There's no, see, like right now I'm trying to see what I'm doing, but that means y'all can't see. I'm just getting rid of the lines. If you can't see this, my apologies. Where it joins, kind of making it a little better. Alright, we'll call this foot covered and ready for more details and build it out and stuff like that. Like there's folds where this is bent. His ankle is bent kind of because of the angle. Comes out this way. Wait. There. Comes out that way. So it's like it's bent up a little bit. So usually to make that believable, you can take a tapered snake like this and put it in front, something like that, and then voila, you have a wrinkle. So it literally, I'm looking at that image up there, it's a wrinkle. That could be the start of detail, but I'll just wait on that. I'm going to get the rest of these feet covered. I am going to run the pasta machine really quick to get me some clay ready again. It'll only take a moment. Oh, hello. I just noticed. Hey, thanks for stopping by. It's almost done. From here, it's just building out details and stuff, different profiles. That should be plenty of clay to do these other 4 feet. The other 3 feet. Say hello, everyone. Like done. Like done. I'm not sure what you mean by that. It's almost like it's done. Or you're done liking the video. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello. I super appreciate it. I just appreciate it, obviously, not being alone. Of course you could watch back some of the stuff I've done. But pretty much covering the feet with clay, and I'm making up my own way of doing it. Well, not my own way. I'm inventing a way that I understand. I don't know if that sounds better. Because there's an old philosophy that there's nothing new under the sun. What's been done has already been done. Read that somewhere. It's pretty much true. For all we know, we're the 8th civilization that's been on this planet. All of them just leave at some point because they stop worrying about money and explore space. And those become aliens, or local aliens. Which is, they share our own DNA. Because if they're not from this planet, then it's a long ways away. Those would be true aliens from elsewhere. And you know, I think about stuff like that. I guess I'm going to talk about aliens and stuff. I think about it quite often. Is there other life? Will we get visits or whatever? Or are they already here on this planet? I honestly believe that yes, we will get a visit, but it won't be life. It won't be anything alive. It'll be the exact same thing we would send to explore another planet or another solar system or another galaxy. It would be machine. It would be AI. I suppose. And then following that would be either the civilization that lived was able to live, or the thing is if you die out, if everybody dies out, they have to start over. Like if something struck our planet right now at 40,000 miles per second, it would basically atomically detonate our entire atmosphere, and it would melt the planet to molten. It would start over again. There would be no evidence of anything here, and it would take thousands of years for the oceans for a new mantle to form, and the oceans could start settling again. I believe that the planet would appear black from space, where basically the water would reside in the sky. Well, if something like that happens, obviously it's a setback for a species. Everybody on the planet would pretty much die, and they'd have to start over again. Either evolve from algae again, or actually planets have a benefit to skip a lot of that real lengthy evolution, because debris gets knocked into orbit and eventually settles back down. So you have stuff already kind of there. But you know, for a fun thought, for creative thinking anyways, say something was to come and strike the planet and it was going to literally melt everything and do what I just described, it would be it would happen from a certain side of the planet. And heat doesn't travel through space. We actually don't feel the warmth of the sun. The warmth we feel when we stand outside is literally photons slamming up against our body at the speed of light. That causes kinetic energy. It produces heat. But anyways, um, having a brain fart again. I go to talk about something and I forget what I'm talking about. It's so frustrating. I was talking about aliens and other life. Oh. So like say that disaster was fixing to happen. I mean it's literally fixing to happen. Everything on the planet's fixing to melt back to molten lava again. Well, get this. We could have there's a space station out there in orbit that you can hold like I don't know 10 people or I don't know how many people can hold. I don't know the specifics, but say like let's just say we put those people we filled up with like some smart people that can help reproduce and you know they can have babies and they can technically live even if it's just 1 minute past that disaster that killed the planet, then it's proof that a species can survive a total wipeout like that. And what I'm trying to get at is if earlier in the history of the planet, if something like that was on its way and um, going to kill everything and just wipe out the planet, and the current people here had the technology to leave or at least stay in orbit or whatever, you could technically survive that and not have to start over the whole evolution thing, basically be a caveman and not know anything, you know, have to start over. And there's obviously species out there in the universe or further that probably had the advantage of not being wiped out by some disaster. There's natural disasters even when planets are first formed. Like I don't know if you knew this, but our planet in its infancy stage, it lacked a bacteria that would biodegrade organic matter. So when a tree fell over, it wouldn't rot. None of the plants rotted. The bacteria that would break down those that caused that to happen wasn't on this planet yet until millions of years later. So what happened was is that when it did show up, that was one of the worst disasters, like the most I don't know the word that they used, the most catastrophic thing in the history of the planet, because basically when that organism showed up to rot all those trees that's been buried under the mud, it made methane, just gas, just tons and tons of it, and it killed everything on the planet, pretty much. So when a planet is in its infancy stage, there's natural disasters that can't be avoided, but we can get hit by a rock or a piece of iron from space that you would be so amazed how kinetic energy works. There's demonstrations right here on this planet that are mind-boggling and so inferior to something like that at that speed hitting our planet. Like I don't know if you ever heard of a rail gun. It's they figure out a way to use electricity to fire off like a piece of metal, and they can shoot these things so fast that they can hit 5 walls of steel and penetrate all 5 of them and cause explosions on every one of them just because of the way energy works. I find it really fascinating. So on a larger scale, something way faster hitting the planet would, first of all, it would hit our atmosphere like it's a solid matter. It wouldn't be like air. It would be like hitting a brick. Before it even hit the ground, it would just explode on the air. It would ignite it atomically, pretty much. And you can kind of get an idea of that by sticking your hand outside your window in a car while you're going 60. You can feel that wind against your, like it wants to break your arm off. And that's only at 60 mile an hour. So it gives you an idea that your air's not invisible. I mean, it's invisible, but it's not non-existent. It's all around us. And you may not realize the thickness to it. Like if you go down in the bottom of the Grand Canyon, the pressure would be thicker versus at the top of the Himalayan mountains or the whatever Mount Everest. I'm trying to think, name that mountain that's high. There's no air up there, barely, because the atmosphere is thinner. You know, two are slow moving bodies that aren't moving hardly any speed at all. You can't really tell that, but even that thin first part of the atmosphere would be like a rock to something traveling, say, when you get tens of thousands of miles per second, it's a lot of kinetic energy that has to be released. And all that gas in our air, there's different gases that make up the oxygen that we breathe. Like the oxygen is one of them, but I don't know. I find science fascinating. I have almost no education on a lot of things, but I like science. I like sci-fi, like Star Trek and Star Wars, the Orville. There's things that are happening right now that, like for example, replicators. Replicators are where you can just push a button and have anything materialize. That's the final product to something that's already starting to happen right now. They're called 3D printers. That's the beginning, the ancient version of a replicator is a 3D printer. That's how it starts. And people, I got not an argument. I had a debate with my uncle once. He's like, I like watching Star Trek, Tom, but it's not believable. When you look at the movie, when you're watching it, who's doing all the work? Who's mopping the floor? Who's building those ships and whatnot? And at the time, I didn't have an argument for him. I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. I wish it could be like that, like a utopia where there's no money and it could be like Star Trek. But now I have the answer. I can continue that argument or discussion with him. Uh, who is doing the work in this fake universe, this fictional universe, Star Trek or Star Wars? Nobody. Nobody is doing the work. Those ships are being built autonomously by basically 3D printers. Man, we're 3D printing houses now with mud. It's just basically a machine that goes around and around and around. It puts a layer on. Oops. Is it the best quality home? Probably not. But it just shows that it can be done. You can actually have things done now that doesn't even require a person standing there. So could that universe exist? Star Trek or whatever? Absolutely. We could have giant buildings in space that are big enough to build starships. You could probably even fabricate an entire planet with a machine. If you get enough metal. There's a book in Star Trek, like the books, the actual novel. It was called Dyson Sphere. I read it. It's actually quite fascinating. The explorers, it's like old Star Trek, I guess. They came across this giant artificial shell that was so big that it encompassed the sun, a star. Now, I don't know if you know just how big that has to be for that to. It's kind of a stretch, you know. But it was so big that when you went in there, you could see the other side of the interior, and a lake would be like millions of Earths. Well, not millions, but it'd be just huge. And I think even that could be possible. I have a crazy notion that anything fathomable, if you can think it, it exists out there somewhere. And I know that sounds outrageous. I've probably just lost a lot of people. Like, okay, now you're getting really ridiculous. So you're saying me if I can? You're telling me that if I can imagine a humanoid figure that has 8 arms coming out of its forehead, that exists out there? Absolutely. And the reason I say that is because matter goes on forever and indefinitely. It never stops. So if there is a, let's put it this way, if you can create a statistical odds, then it exists. Because you'll finally reach that lottery. It'll be there. In fact, not only will you find that creature with 18 arms coming out of his head, there'll be iteration after iteration after iteration. You could probably even find a planet with the same number of sand arranged in the same position. That's getting really outrageous, by the way. Be like, Tom, the odds of that are... No, it goes forever. The odds are achieved. In the face of infinity, odds are always achieved. And that's the matter is indefinite. Space is indefinite. But they're finding that matter is just little pockets of, like, our universe is actually a tiny thing. There's next to a bunch of all over everywhere, like little bubbles. And the edge of it is defined by quasars that expand and contract into, like, the Big Bang or whatever. But it just goes on indefinitely. How wild would it be to leave the actual area of a universe, like to break through the quasar area and be in just nothingness for a while until you reach the next bubble next to you? I don't know, probably just got real wild with people. I'm taking forever, I'm sorry. And talking crazy. Talking crazy. I love science fiction. I love technology. Some of it. I also kind of, the old days, like kerosene lanterns and horse and buggy and stuff, and that's appealing to me too. I always feel like that I would love to be born like a 1,000 years in the past, or maybe a few thousand years in the future. Right now we're at this dumb stage where everything's ran by money, and I don't know. I think that sets us back. We're so worried about that dollar that we could be colonizing other planets, but we chose weird things like sports and football, and the amount of money that's involved in all the sports on this planet. If you combine like football, both kinds of football, golf, oh my gosh, golf is the worst. I'm sorry if I'm upsetting anybody because they love golf, but that's the most gluttonous sport. You like thousands and thousands of acres of land to hit this tiny little ball, and it's like we're children. We chose entertainment and fun instead of immortality. We could be developing ways of overcoming, maybe not for ourselves, but for our children. We could start restoring these longevity that you read in the you know, in the Bible, in the Old Testament. It's like they lived hundreds of years. And it was probably because the first people that were here were like super people, and it's just the breeding and breeding and breeding, it watered it down, and that's what you wind up with today. Because you're supposed to use different uh, people. You can't. It's okay with chickens, I guess, but not with people. Oh my gosh, I'm getting really awkward. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this. Are y'all still here? Well, 3 people are here. Until the 30 seconds happens and you hear what I just said. Like, oh my god, Tom, just shut up. You're a weirdo. You'll probably have to watch this back to... I explain these different areas that I'm doing, like, just to bring you up to speed if anybody just joined. I cut this right here to where it's a little wider than the foot. That way when I put the sheet over it, it has something to mate to, versus if it was cut flush. It's a very tiny little bit of area for the clay, this clay that will be right here, to mate to that. So by leaving this right here, it's just better. It's mo better. I get excited when talking about science, and I didn't really learn any of that. I kind of just... Oh, you know what? All kidding aside, I am one day going to make a video on black holes. I have to give my opinion. Everybody else does. I have to. People are saying some wild, outrageous things, like you can fly into black holes, and I feel like I understand exactly what black holes are. Well, the only thing I don't understand is the jets that they emit. I don't know what's going on with that. But the actual physical properties of a black hole are very easily understood to me. You cannot fly into a black hole. It's actually kind of... the irony to it is not lost on me. They to call it a hole implies that it has an empty space, like a pothole that you can fall into, or a hole in a tree that an owl would live in. It kind of implies that there's a space inside there that you can kind of go visit or hang out, and it's actually the opposite. No space exists in a black hole at all. It's solid matter, and I can actually explain this right now. I'll make a video, but I'll do it right here. Real briefly. Check this out. To explain this, I have to actually talk about an atom. Those tiny little things that make everything. So check this out. I read this once. A guy, I can't remember his name, so sorry, I can't give no credit. But he basically described he found a way to describe an atom to where it can be easily understood. And what he said was, if you took a child's marble and you set it in the center of a football field, those big ones with the stadiums around it, you set it down in the center of that, and you call that the nucleus of an atom, which is the proton and the neutron, right? That's the nucleus. The electron, cut that too short. This chair is killing me, that squeakiness. The electron would be somewhere outside of the stadium, right? So this is giving you a visual, a kind of a visual representation of what it's scaling it to where you can see it, because it's so tiny it's hard to understand. So in the middle of the football field, the child marble is the nucleus of the atom, the proton and neutrons or whatever. And outside the just outside the stadium would be the electron that flies around it really fast and alternates its pattern really fast. It actually does it so fast that it creates what is called an electron cloud. It can't be penetrated, that cloud. it's a makes a ball, and actually determines the size of this atom too. When an atom touches another atom, their balls can't go inside each other. So what happens with a black hole is it's so powerful, it pulls that electron all the way to where it touches the nucleus. There is no space in it anymore. Now, get this. If you did that in this demonstration I just set up for you in the football field, if you took that electron and you put it all the way to the child's marble again, do you remember the original size? Here's a question for you. How many marbles, because now that's the size of the atom, is the size of the nucleus. The atom now became the size of the nucleus, not the electron cloud, right? So if they're that tiny, how many child's marbles can fit in a sphere that big? It'd be trillions. Trillions of them. So that's basically what's happening in the black hole. The gravity is so intense it pulls the electron massively, with a massive amount of strength, to the nucleus, and it basically, there is no space inside at all. It's all matter. So you can't fly into the dang thing. That's what I'm trying to say. And light can't escape it because photons have matter. That's why they can't escape it. It is absolutely matter. That's why it's hot when you get outside and the sun's on you. You're not feeling the heat from that sun. You're feeling the kinetic energy of photons slamming against your body at the speed of light. It causes, that's how you get the warmth. I cut that short too. See? So, on the flip side, if you take any other kind of matter, like us, or rock, or even any kind of material, or even our sun, it's almost completely space. Hardly any matter, because atoms have all that negative empty space between the electron and the nucleus. So we're like almost have no matter to us, in comparison to a black hole, anyways. Now that's may sound retarded. I don't know. A professor might be like, "Oh my gosh, you are so dumb, Tom." And you know what? That's okay. I'm okay with that. It's just how I see something. Just call it entertainment. Just entertain you with a silly story. Talking about atoms and black holes. I would sometimes talk about black holes and atoms and stuff like that, and to help my wife go to sleep, she would just fall asleep. I probably caused 2 car accidents right now. Someone's listening and it's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so tired." I'm happy to help. If you're feeling like restless, I will talk about atoms, and you'll get tired. It's fascinating. It's weird. It's a tiny building block that makes, well, there's many different kinds of atoms, but they make everything around us. And I don't know, who's to say there's not even a tiny iteration, an even smaller iteration than atoms will eventually, like the proton and neutron, what are they made of? Maybe they're like galaxies in themselves. It just keeps going forever and ever. Some creative thinking. I just like to think. I done talked it down to one person. Sorry. Whoever that one person is, like, you're a champ. You're like, I'm watching this guy. I love what he does. Or maybe it's just Google being like merciful, like, listen, we can't never make him feel like he's got nobody here. Just make it say one, no matter what. It's hot in these lights above me are just hot. I know this ain't a really good angle for y'all to see. I'm trying to just press that to there and work some of these lines away. And I wasn't able to. This foot's shaped a little weird. His foot is kind of lost. Maybe not. Oops. It's not so bad. It's just the leg should have went back a little further, I think. And I think I skipped a foot or jumped on another foot. Right here. So one more piece. We just recently rewatched The Orville for the second time. Sometimes it's fun to watch something 2, 3, or 4 times. I think we watched Star Trek Next Generation 3 times all the way through, and that's a lot of episodes, just so you know. It's just the universe, all those characters. It's the characters too. It's not so much the bells and whistles because it's older. Like the newer ones, like Star Trek Discovery or Star Trek. What's that? Oh, Strange New Worlds is like one of the newest ones. And that Picard, where he came back and he made a couple seasons. Those are really good. I mean, the graphics and the way they do things now are so much better. But nothing can replace Data and Geordi, and all those characters are so memorable. They can make a character to a television show can make the show. Like Witcher, I can't remember that guy's name. He didn't get to do the next season for some reason, and they got some new guy. We haven't even went and watched it. We haven't even watched that. I can't remember the guy's name. But he makes that. He makes that. I'm sorry. It's just it's so awkward when they fire somebody or there's some kind of weird drama going on or money or. I think he was wanting to change the actual story, which, I get it, if it's whoever designed it, it's their story. If they want it spoken a certain way, then that's on them. But the actor, I just really liked it. He did it. It felt so good watching it. And maybe we'll give the new guy a try. But I just hate it when they change an actor. Understand if they die or something. Life happens. But it's super weird. You get kind of used to seeing the same face, or maybe they just do the job really well. They're really good actors. And I just want to see them, Imagine tuning into this channel and it's like some dude named Bob and they're like, alright, today we're gonna, you would be like, whoa, where'd Tom go? And I don't know, maybe Bob's good. Maybe he'll do Clay good and not talk so much. gonna be so nervous. Tigger, why do you want in here, baby? It's hot. I'm just messing with clay. I'm trying to get something done. Okay, I'll let you in. That poor baby just wants in here. Alright, look y'all. This one's still rough where I haven't did the lines and stuff. And it needs a snake on the front right here. Oh my gosh, it's so hot in here. That usually starts my leg to hurt, and I think the heat. 1 second, Tigger. Let me do this one part. I'll come let you in. I think adding TLS to this clay and making it tacky has made it a nice, pretty nice little sculpting compound. And I'm not necessarily saying that that should be done to everybody's clay or whatever. Hold on. Let me let His Majesty. Come on. Uh-huh. You ain't getting up on my lap. Go get on the other chair. Hi, I love you. I'm busy though. I'm trying to do YouTube. Okay? You could be in a YouTube video, but this is a dinosaur video. This ain't the Tigger video. Yeah, he jumped in the other chair. Now he'll take a bath and then go to sleep, and then once I go in there and lay down in the bed, he'll get up and he'll go in there and he'll lay in my arms. I have a YouTube short showing how my cat sleeps in my arm every night. I woke up one morning and it's when I had a beard. If you're curious, it's wonderful to have a cat sleep like in your arm. When he lays his little jelly beans, his toes over your arm, like right here, the feeling of it. Oh, it's a wonderful feeling. I think it is. But sometimes I kind of want to just move around and whatever, and no, I need to. Alright, we have the first coat on this. This is the new girth or diameter of these legs. Ooh, someone said hello. I'm still here, just quiet, looking nice. Cool, thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that. You hanging out with me? Obviously. This is the new diameter of these legs. They're not as skinny as the armature is, and from here I can add knees and other little wrinkles and stuff, just little details to make this a little more believable. Where am I in time? A 3-hour stream. So this could be, maybe this could be a cutoff point. I don't know. What time is it? 11:48. It's not too late. It's a Friday night. I'm awfully hot. I need something to drink and a little something to eat. I'm wondering if I could I'll clean this up a little bit with some softener, just kind of run my hands around on it. There's no air bubbles in the body. This can come off. So look how that did. You can see the coin that I set it on, I cut, and this clay right here was like a layer, a sheet around that, and there's, you can see a gap going around it. I can get rid of that by just gently going like this, just pulling it over onto that coin, and that could be sanded. I can run a piece of sandpaper over that, but it'd be good to do this. That way it kind of encompasses it. You don't want this. That's a gap. Pretty easy to get rid of. Cosplay sands really well. I was sanding that lizard today. I sand it with 180, and then I went straight to 400. I know you're supposed to use several different grits and all. It's just so time consuming to do that. But basically, I was okay to stop because when I'm wet sanding it, it shows about what it's going to look like when I seal it with the sealer I use. So I'm like, wow, this looks really nice. So I'll just stop here, and it should be fine. It's I'll be continuing that here soon. It'll be a normal video, not a stream. I'm not going to be, it's actually a simple little video. I'm going to be adding it to a plaque, like a platform. It'll have a backing just for stability. We don't want to push our luck with those little toes. But it's rubber. You're literally sanding rubber instead of like a harder plastic as the normal polymer clays, and it sands just as pretty much the same. A little different, but nothing to where it's like, you know, you can't do it. So I just went all the way around this, and there's no gap now. I mean, you can still tell where I drug clay over it. I can set this back down on these. So, maybe I can do just a little bit more. I don't know. I'm feeling like this is a good cutoff point. And I know it seems like I just did this, and I apologize. That video that I did, I'm going to be taking down. If I can get enough people watching one of these streams where I can get the watch time I need, I'll delete those videos. The first video where I make the armature with the foil and the wire and all, I'm keeping that. I'll just make it time lapse. I'll re-edit it. I'll download it and re-edit. I don't know how to download it in the full quality from YouTube. So whatever I get, I'm just going to work with it. We'll call that part 1. And the one where I was building the shell will be part 2, and this is part 3. I just can't have a video saying it's okay to do something that will damage people's work. And I was trying that new thing with electric tape, and it turned out to be like a no-no. And I have to fix it, you know, I can't have that. Ooh, I had dirty, some other color clay on there. Red. So this turned out really nice. I got the clay, all the clay here. In the next video, next stream on this, I'll be making profiles. Here, I'll change this camera setup. Try to. like bring it down a little. Can I? Yeah, there we go.